In the quiet heart of a sprawling, sun-scorched city, Commander Ibrahim Traoré, a man renowned for his iron will and unyielding discipline, decided one evening to follow his oldest servant, thinking the man merely weary from decades of loyal service. But as he trailed him through winding alleys and dimly lit streets, the commander's mind raced with both curiosity and unease. And what he discovered in a hidden corner of the city would unravel a conspiracy so vast it threatened to topple the very foundation of the nation. For Ibrahim had always trusted his instincts, honed over years of battle and political intrigue, and that night his intuition screamed that something was amiss, yet nothing could have prepared him for the sight of his servant, a man named Amadou, exchanging sealed envelopes with shadowy figures in a clandestine courtyard, the soft rustle of paper and whispered voices echoing ominously against the crumbling walls. And as Ibrahim crouched behind a rusted gate, heart pounding, he pieced together a chilling pattern. There were coded messages, financial ledgers, and secret plans that pointed to a network of traitors, men in positions of power who were siphoning wealth from the nation's coffers and funneling it into arms caches and shadow armies, all meticulously orchestrated by people he had once considered allies, and every movement of his loyal soldiers, every schedule he shared publicly, every inspection tour he had planned was being meticulously monitored and exploited. And as the night deepened, Ibrahim's mind replayed years of seemingly innocuous interactions, realizing that Amadou had been silently manipulating outcomes, feeding critical intelligence to these conspirators while maintaining the facade of a humble servant, and the betrayal cut deeper than any enemy on the battlefield because it came from within the walls of his own home, from a man who had poured his life into loyalty yet had chosen greed and treachery over fidelity. And as Ibrahim documented every detail with hidden cameras and recording devices, taking photos of covert meetings and noting the comings and goings of clandestine couriers, he felt the cold steel of anger tempered by the need for strategy, knowing that a rash confrontation could scatter the network and allow the architects of this treachery to vanish into shadows. And so he crafted a plan, assembling a team of elite operatives whose loyalty had been forged in blood and tested in fire, men who would move with precision to dismantle the conspiracy, while Amadou remained oblivious to the storm that was silently converging around him. And night after night, Ibrahim's surveillance revealed ever more disturbing truths. The conspirators were planning a coup, intending to strike during a national celebration when the commander would be most exposed, and their ambitions were fed not just by wealth but by a lust for absolute power. Yet Ibrahim remained undetected, moving like a ghost through the city, coordinating teams, planting evidence, and preparing contingencies so intricate that any misstep by the traitors would trigger a chain reaction leading directly to their capture. And as the fateful day approached, Ibrahim orchestrated a decoy convoy, luring the conspirators into believing the commander's location was vulnerable, while in truth, he and his operatives had encircled the key players, from high-ranking officials to shadowy financiers, each trapped within a web of surveillance and strategic positioning. And when the operation unfolded, it was swift and surgical. Teams struck simultaneously across multiple locations, seizing weapons caches, intercepting communications, and apprehending the conspirators with precision, leaving no room for escape or counterattack. And as Ibrahim finally confronted Amadou in his quarters, the old servant trembling under the weight of exposure, the commander's gaze was unyielding, revealing both the depth of betrayal and the inevitability of justice. And with the nation's traitors neutralized, Ibrahim turned his attention to reforming the government's security infrastructure, rooting out corruption, and restoring faith in the institutions he had vowed to protect, while the people, unaware of the full scale of the conspiracy, began to sense a resurgence of order and integrity. And though the battle for loyalty, power, and truth had been won, Ibrahim knew vigilance must never falter, for the most dangerous enemies often wear familiar faces, smile politely at your table, and whisper assurances of fidelity. Yet with unwavering resolve, he continued his watch, a silent sentinel ensuring that the nation would remain safe, strong, and united, and that even the deepest betrayals, once illuminated, could be overcome through courage, strategy, and the relentless pursuit of justice. And as the months passed, the city healed, the conspirators imprisoned, and the people, inspired by tales of hidden heroism and cunning leadership, began to rebuild their lives with renewed hope, knowing that a single vigilant commander, guided by intuition and unwavering moral clarity, had turned what could have been the collapse of an entire nation into a story of triumph, resilience, and enduring loyalty. And though Ibrahim Traoré's name would one day be spoken in hushed reverence, the lesson remained clear. Vigilance is the price of freedom. Trust must be earned and verified, and even in the darkest shadows, truth has the power to shine and restore a nation from the brink of devastation. Yet the story did not end with the apprehension of Amadou or the dismantling of the immediate network, for as Ibrahim began analyzing intercepted communications, financial records, and personal correspondences, he realized the conspiracy had layers deeper than he had imagined, networks within networks, some hidden even from the corrupt officials who thought they controlled the operation, and in the quiet moments of the night, as he pored over maps, encrypted files, and the smallest anomalies in daily activity, he traced subtle signals, payments disguised as charitable donations, coded phrases in news broadcasts, shipments of innocuous supplies hiding military-grade materials, all pointing to a shadow organization that stretched far beyond the capital, into distant provinces, even across borders. And as he considered the scale of this hidden machinery, his mind could not help but acknowledge the ingenuity of the traitors, who had spent years establishing trust and secrecy, embedding themselves in mundane systems, exploiting routine oversight, and masking their ambitions with social philanthropy. Yet Ibrahim's determination did not waver. He devised long-term strategies, placing loyal agents as discreet monitors in critical sectors, leveraging trusted civilians with eyes on the ground, and using a network of encrypted communications that no outsider could penetrate, all while maintaining the illusion of normalcy, so that the conspirators remained unaware of the tightening net. And in the following weeks, he orchestrated small tactical operations to test his intelligence. One minor raid revealed hidden caches of weapons in abandoned warehouses, another uncovered falsified shipping records, and yet another intercepted covert messages between distant provinces, each success adding a layer of clarity to the labyrinthine conspiracy. And through it all, Ibrahim maintained careful distance from Amadou, allowing the old servant to believe he was still in control, while simultaneously turning Amadou into the ultimate bait. For every move he made now could be analyzed to reveal additional co-conspirators, and as the plot unfolded, Ibrahim discovered that the coup was not merely an ambition of a few officials and businessmen, but part of a larger, more sinister plan, involving mercenaries, private security contractors, and foreign interests who sought to destabilize the nation for their own gain. And this revelation hardened his resolve, compelling him to coordinate with trusted international allies while keeping the majority of operations clandestine, for the wrong leak could topple the delicate balance he was carefully maintaining. And as the national celebration neared, Ibrahim prepared his operatives for the most critical stage of the operation. Not only would the key conspirators be confronted, but all shadow networks supporting them would be simultaneously neutralized, from hidden weapon caches to corrupt financial channels. And through meticulous planning, surveillance, and calculated deception, he orchestrated a scenario in which each player believed they were acting freely, yet in reality, they were being guided inexorably toward their exposure. And when the decisive moment arrived, Ibrahim oversaw the operation with the precision of a master tactician. Teams moved silently, intercepting messages, surrounding safe houses, apprehending mercenaries, and dismantling every piece of the sprawling conspiracy without a single civilian casualty, while he personally confronted Amadou one last time, observing the old servant's faltering composure, the subtle tremor in his voice, and the flicker of fear in his eyes. And in that moment, Ibrahim recognized the human cost of betrayal, the tragedy of loyalty corrupted. Yet he felt no remorse, only the calm satisfaction of justice executed. And as the dust settled and the city began to breathe again, he reflected on the lessons learned. Vigilance is eternal, power attracts corruption, and even the most loyal faces can mask the darkest intentions. Yet through unwavering strategy, keen perception, and moral clarity, a single individual can dismantle conspiracies that threaten nations, inspire collective trust, and restore the fragile order that keeps society intact. And so Ibrahim Traoré's legacy became not merely that of a commander who thwarted a coup, but as a sentinel whose wisdom, courage, and foresight turned what could have been a catastrophic collapse into a story of resilience, hope, and enduring vigilance. And though many conspirators remained in prisons, under watch, or permanently displaced, the underlying truth lingered. The fight against betrayal, greed, and corruption is never fully over, and it requires constant attention. But as long as individuals like Ibrahim Traoré stand guard, the nation can survive even the most insidious threats, and the citizens, though often unaware of the silent wars waged in shadows, would forever benefit from the unseen vigilance of their protector. A reminder that in a world where deceit can hide behind familiarity, courage, insight, and unrelenting strategy are the shields that guard freedom, honor, and the very soul of a nation. And the story, though expanded with countless layers of espionage, betrayal, strategy, and resolution, would serve as a timeless testament to the power of vigilance, the importance of trust verified, and the enduring strength of leadership grounded in morality and intelligence, leaving an indelible mark on history, a narrative that generations would recount with awe, understanding that the greatest threats are often invisible, the subtlest betrayals the most devastating, and the quiet, patient heroism of a single determined commander can save an entire nation from collapse, ensuring that even in the darkest shadows, truth shines, justice prevails. and the people can once again live in hope and security.